Now, as you can probably tell, I have a British accent. I'm originally from England, but for many years I have done a lot of business in the United States, and probably 40 to 50% of my clients are American. So when I noticed two items on the news this week which directly relate to America, I took interest because this show will also affect the United Kingdom. So two things happened, and you've probably seen this already. US debt has now hit $40 trillion. So this is now the largest debt in the world. It is huge. You can't even comprehend just how big that number is. To give you an example, I think every American citizen is now in line for a debt of $118,000 or thereabouts. That's what every American, rich or poor, old or young, every American would have to come up with today to clear the national debt. And there's no way any country on earth, even as big and powerful as America, can clear a debt that large. So they are probably going to have to devalue the dollar or do something crazy like that to bring it down. They may not do it overnight, it may take a few years, but we're clearly going to see a change in the value of the dollar. The other item is the bond markets. Now, I'm not fully aware of what's happened. I've seen a little bit on the news about the bond market, but the bond market is the backbone of the American economy. The bond market moves, everybody listens. That is what sets interest rates and the American economy. The bond market is getting weaker. People do not want to buy as many US bonds. They are selling them. The US is, I believe, having to buy back some bonds, for lack of a better word, to try and stabilize the bond market. But if the bond market really moves, then the US dollar is certainly in trouble. You combine that with the debt, it's going to be bad news. But the other important news I've seen, both sides of the pond, in England and the UK, is credit card companies, mainly American Express. They are starting to reduce people's limits. Now, I'm not talking about the average limit. I'm talking about limits for high net wealth individuals. So people have typically had quite large limits. Pay their cards like I do on call every month, X and Y to build your credit rating, get amazing perks, use a credit card for everything, pay it off every month. So generally you would have quite a high limit, and many people do. Well, more and more people have been reporting, I've seen it amongst friends of mine, I've seen it on X, I've seen it on LinkedIn. More and more people are questioning why suddenly after 10, 15 years, for no apparent reason, their credit card limit has been reduced. Now, I remember this happened before. It happened to me when I was living in London in 2008. My credit card company said, hey, all's good, but we're just going to cut your limits in half. However, it's just some due diligence. By the time you submitted your new tax return at the end of the year, we'll look to put it back up. But the date was crucial. They did it in 2008. And I thought, that's strange. And a lot of my friends noticed the same. Again, it's mainly American Express who did this. And this was just before the financial crisis of 2008. So American Express had read the room. They looked at the debt situation. They have incredibly large analysts. And they just pulled back some exposure. They took it in limits. They took the money back, held it to themselves. Well, when American Express, who make a fortune lending money on credit cards, by the way, that's how they make a massive amount of money. When they want to lend less, that is a canary in the coal mine. So you take into account the bond market, the natural debt, and then the major US credit card companies are pulling back some of their limits, or probably only temporarily. That, for me, is a canary in the coal mine about where the US economy may be going in the next few months. And that is why, and that is how it relates to what I do, which is selling passports and international citizenships and wealth migration. Because if you hold all your money in US dollars right now, you need to have a serious think, because the dollar is clearly going to have to weaken. It already is a little bit. And that's why you should absolutely, if you have the means, hold some of your money internationally. And the best way to do that is through a second citizenship, and even better, as a residency. Now, you don't have to leave America. You will be taxed on your worldwide income if you're American. That's what American does. But you should at least plan a backup. You should at least plan some sort of international structure, just so you can, even if you have to pay tax on it, hold some of your assets in different currencies. And like I said, you go get a second citizenship, go to the Caribbean, invest $250,000 million, get yourself a second passport, citizenship, use that as some sort of structure, start building an international portfolio. just to protect your wealth and keep some of it outside the US. Hold it in multiple currencies or crypto, or overseas property is a great way to go as well. But just start to hedge your bets, because that's what the smart money has been doing for years. Look at Warren Buffett. Over a year ago, he cashed in a large percentage of his holdings and simply holds it in cash. And I can tell you now, he won't have it all in US dollars. He would have spread it around. So if you would like information on how you can acquire a second citizenship to start building yourself an international hedge, well, let me know. Drop me a message or hit the link in the bio. I'm Joseph Boll and I head Frederick Capital, and we help high net wealth individuals structure their assets overseas via second citizenship and passports.